In this video, we'll be covering preparing CSV metadata for your content. When preparing your CSV metadata for Snapplify, it's crucial to ensure that the file is error-free before uploading it via the SFTP client. Let's go through the different headings in the Snapplify CSV template, and I'll explain what needs to be included. It is important to not delete any columns or change the headings, as any changes will prevent the metadata from being ingested successfully. First up, we have the EAN column, which is the digital ISBN of the product. Here, you'll ensure that there are no spaces before or after the number, as well as no dashes within the ISBN. We will set the column to number format with no decimals. In the related EAN column, we will include the print book for this title. This is important as many institutions will use this ISBN to locate the digital version of the title, and it makes the searching process easier for the client. Again, we would have no spaces before or after the ISBN, also no dashes or spaces in between. Again, we will set the column to number format with no decimals. In the file type column, we will specify the type of file being uploaded. In this case, we are uploading a PDF. Please ensure that only one file type is used in this column. In the title column, we will specify the title of the product. For user friendliness and for better visibility for the customer, also include the license days in the title name. In the description column, include a description of the product. This could be a blurb of the product or what the client can expect from the content. This will help a client decide if it is what they would like to purchase. If there are any additional resources that forms part of the product but is not included in the product, you can mention this in the description about how the user can obtain this additional resource. In the published column, we will indicate if the product has been published and is available for sale. Type true if already available and published, or false if not yet published. In the embargo date column, we would use it if any titles are meant to be sold at a future date and not sold immediately. As an example, you would add the date as the year, month, day. For example, 2024-08-25 as a future date. If it can be sold immediately, you simply leave this blank. In the category column, specify the high-level category of the product. For example, you will type fiction for a fiction title, history for a history book, or agriculture if it relates to that. In the author column, enter the author or contributor's names separated by semicolons. Start with the initial or first name followed by the last name. In the edition column, type the edition number of the product, for example, number 1, 2, or 3, etc., to represent the edition. If the edition is revised, you can simply type in revised. In the publisher column, you will enter the name of the publisher. In the publication date column, you would enter the date that the product was first published in the format of year, month, day. In the pages column, we'll enter the number of pages in the product. This column is not relevant for Snap, audio, or video file content and can be left blank. In the copyright column, list the copyright holders of the product. You may specify multiple copyright holders with a semicolon if there are multiple. In the language column, specify the language or languages that the content was produced in. Use the ISO language codes separated by semicolons if the product is comprised of multiple languages. Refer to the linked knowledge base article on language ISO codes for the list of codes. In the price column, enter the price of your product. If the product is free, you simply type in the word free. However, please enter your VAT inclusive or exclusive price as per the signed distribution agreement with Snapplify. Only add the numeric value to this column. In the currency column, you'll provide the currency code. Ensure that you use the currency listed in your distribution agreement. Refer to the linked knowledge base article called Using ISO Country and Currency Codes for the list of codes. In the business model column, specify the business model associated with the price. Your options here are retail, library, or direct only. If a product should be available in multiple business models, a new line of metadata will be required, or you update the business model in the new line. And I will show you in the example at the end. In the allowed countries column, list the country codes where the product can be sold, and separate multiple country codes with a semicolon. You will leave this blank if the product can be sold worldwide. If used, leave the disallowed countries column blank. In the disallowed countries column, list the country codes where the product cannot be sold. Separate multiple country codes with a semicolon. Leave blank if the product can be sold worldwide. You may also leave this blank if you are making use of the allowed countries column. In the DRM required column, indicate if DRM is required. You will type true for Snap, EPUB, and PDF files, and false for audio and video files. In the number of devices column, we will specify the number of devices a user can access the product on. Our default number of devices is 5. If left blank, the number of devices will default to 5, or you can update the number of devices the product can be accessed on, for example, 2, 3, or 4 devices. In the license days column, set the license duration. This is how long the user would have access to the product in the Snapplify reader once it's been purchased. Leave blank for perpetual licenses. You would need to specify a license period. If you would need to specify a license period, for educational books, we recommend you use 425 days for 1 year, 790 days for 2 years, or 1,155 days for 3 years to ensure access throughout the academic year. It's important to just add the number. In the printable column, indicate if the book should be printable from the Snapplify reader or not. But please note that only PDF files may be printed, no other file types. You will type true if you would like the book to be printed from the Snapplify reader, or false if you do not want the book to be printed from the Snapplify reader. As promised, I will demonstrate how to supply metadata for another business model. In this example, I'll show you how to supply library business model. All we simply have to do is copy the row of metadata and paste it in the row below. We will move over to the business model column and update the business model from retail to library. You may also change the price if you would like. We can now go ahead and delete rows 2 and 3 as we no longer require the sample metadata. You now may be wondering what to name the file, and I will do a little bit of a demonstration. So we'll save the file and make sure that it's saved as a CSV. We'll make sure that it is saved to the folder where we have all our files. And you can set it as your publisher name and today's date. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your CSV metadata is properly formatted and ready for upload.